The Casey Anthony trial didn't just change the lives of those involved, it reshaped how defense teams and prosecutors approach high-profile cases. With the world watching, the strategies used in her case became a blueprint for future courtroom battles. But was it the right strategy? This video explores how Casey Anthony's acquittal has influenced legal strategies and courtroom tactics in the years that followed. The Casey Anthony trial was a turning point for criminal defense and prosecution. Despite the shocking verdict, the defense team's bold moves and the prosecution's struggles have had a lasting influence on the way legal teams prepare for high-profile trials. What lessons did lawyers take from this trial, and what legal strategies will future defendants and prosecutors adopt from Casey Anthony's case? The defense team in Casey's trial, led by Jose Baez, employed unconventional strategies that shocked the public and ultimately led to an acquittal. From attacking the prosecution's evidence to introducing allegations of abuse and a potential drowning accident, the defense proved that the right moves could create doubt in a jury's mind. This video will examine how the defense's tactics have shaped the strategies used in criminal trials ever since. The trial also introduced the overwhelming influence of media coverage on the courtroom. Casey's trial was a public spectacle, and the media played a significant role in shaping the narrative. How have future lawyers used media to their advantage? And what have they learned about handling the court of public opinion? We'll break down how media coverage has become a vital tool or obstacle in high-stakes trials. Could the outcome have been different with a different strategy? What if the prosecution had approached the case differently? Could they have convicted Casey with a stronger case? Or was it simply the case of a flawed legal system that couldn't deal with the ambiguity? In this video, we'll discuss whether the prosecution's mistakes were avoidable and what lessons prosecutors have learned in the years since. What are the long-term legal implications of the acquittal? Beyond the immediate shockwaves, what lasting impact did the Casey Anthony case have on the justice system? Did it set new legal precedents, or was it a one-off example of an acquittal in a complex case? We'll explore the wider implications of the case on how courts handle similar trials in the future. Why does the Casey Anthony case still influence legal tactics? Despite being years behind us, the Casey Anthony trial continues to influence courtroom tactics. Why do lawyers still reference her case when preparing for their own trials? Is it because of the shocking verdict, or because the trial highlighted flaws that future legal teams aim to avoid? In this video, we'll analyze why the case continues to spark debates about legal strategies and court procedures. The Casey Anthony trial didn't just affect the parties involved, it left a lasting emotional and psychological mark on the jury who had to make the impossible decision. How did they handle the pressure? And what was the aftermath of their verdict? In this video, we'll dive deep into the psychological toll the trial took on the jurors, how their decision has haunted them since, and the impact it has had on future jury decisions in high-profile cases. What was the psychological impact on the jurors? The Casey Anthony trial was a media spectacle, and the pressure on the jury was immense. These ordinary individuals were tasked with deciding the fate of a woman accused of killing her daughter, all under the watchful eyes of the world. How did the jurors cope with the responsibility of making this life-altering decision? This video will explore the mental and emotional challenges the jury faced during the trial, how they arrived at their verdict, and how the decision has affected their lives. The jury's decision to acquit Casey Anthony shocked the world. But how did they arrive at that conclusion? What was going through their minds during deliberations? This video will break down the key moments that led to the jury's decision, shedding light on how they wrestled with the evidence or lack thereof, and the role that media coverage played in shaping their ultimate choice. The aftermath. How did the jury cope with the public's reaction? After the verdict was delivered, the jury was immediately thrust back into the media storm. But what happened when the cameras turned off? How did the jurors cope with the public backlash, especially knowing that many people believed Casey Anthony was guilty? Several jurors spoke out after the trial, explaining their reasons for acquitting Casey. Their statements varied from explaining how the prosecution's case lacked concrete evidence to expressing doubts about the impact of media coverage on their decision-making. We'll dive into these post-trial interviews and analyze how the jurors interpreted the evidence and how it differed from the public's interpretation. Did the jurors feel conflicted? Many have speculated that some jurors may have felt conflicted about their verdict, but chose to acquit based on the lack of solid evidence. Were there moments of doubt during the deliberations that we don't know about? Did some jurors wrestle with guilt or discomfort after the trial ended? This video will explore these questions and examine whether the jurors ever truly found peace with their decision. How did the public's opinion affect the jurors' lives? The jurors were not immune to the public's criticism and outrage. After the trial, they faced intense media attention, with many accusing them of failing to deliver justice for Kaylee. How did the overwhelming backlash affect them? Did it change their views on the justice system? Or did they feel justified in their decision? We'll explore how the public's opinion weighed on the jurors and whether they felt misunderstood or vilified. Why do we care about the jury's decision? The public's obsession with the Casey Anthony trial hasn't just centered on Casey, it has extended to the jury's decision and their role in the case's outcome. Why are we so fascinated by what the jurors went through? Is it because we want to understand how such a monumental decision was made? Or is it because we believe the verdict somehow reflects our own views on justice? This video will explore why we still care about the jury's experience and what it tells us about how we, as a society, interpret justice. The Casey Anthony trial was not just a courtroom battle, it was a global media spectacle. Every detail, every moment of the trial was broadcasted, dissected, and analyzed by millions. But how did this constant media coverage shape the case? Did the media influence the jury's decision? Was the trial ever really about justice? Or was it about the headlines? The media frenzy surrounding Casey Anthony was unlike anything seen before. From daily coverage to constant speculation about the verdict, the public was swarmed with opinions, theories, and sensationalized headlines. But what effect did this media attention have on the trial? Was the verdict influenced by the overwhelming media coverage, or did it simply reflect the facts presented in court? This video will explore how the media shaped the narrative of the case and what that meant for the justice system. The Casey Anthony trial became a reality TV-style courtroom drama, with news networks covering every minute. But how did this non-stop media exposure affect public opinion? Did it skew the way people viewed Casey? And how did it impact the prosecution and defense? Despite the judge's instructions to avoid media coverage, many jurors were exposed to the massive media storm surrounding the case. How did this impact their verdict? Were they swayed by the public's outrage? Or did they stick to the facts presented in court? We'll explore how media coverage, both subtle and overt, may have influenced the jury's deliberations and decision-making process. While the trial was ongoing, social media exploded with hashtags, memes, and public outrage. How did platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and online forums add to the narrative? Did they create a biased public opinion that put pressure on the legal teams involved in the case? This video will explore the new era of media where public commentary and social media have become powerful forces that influence legal proceedings. Could the media have affected the verdict? Could the constant media exposure have led to a biased jury? While jurors were instructed not to watch the news, could they have been exposed to enough media content to influence their decision? We'll break down how media pressure may have affected the jurors' ability to remain impartial and how the public's opinion weighed on their decision to acquit Casey Anthony. What would have happened without the media frenzy? What if the trial had taken place without the overwhelming media coverage? Would the prosecution have had a stronger case? Or would the outcome have been different? We'll explore how the media's influence on the trial may have changed its trajectory and the fairness of the process. Why did the media get so obsessed with the Casey Anthony case? Why did the Casey Anthony case captivate the media to the extent that it did? Was it the salacious nature of the case, or was it something deeper, an emotional response from the public, a need for justice, or something else? This video will look into the psychology behind the media's obsession with this trial, and why it became the focal point for so many. the Casey Anthony trial was one of the most widely publicized and controversial legal battles in modern history. But what happened after the dust settled? What lessons did the legal world learn from her acquittal? And how have these lessons shaped future high-profile cases? In this video, we'll examine the long-term impact of the Casey Anthony trial on the justice system and explore how it has influenced legal strategies, public perception, and even the media's involvement in future cases. What lessons did the justice system learn from the Casey Anthony trial? The Casey Anthony trial exposed numerous flaws in the justice system, from the challenges of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to the overwhelming influence of the media. How did this trial change the way future cases are prosecuted, defended, and presented to the public? This video will explore the lessons learned from the Casey Anthony case and how they have shaped the way high-profile trials are handled today. In the aftermath of the trial, many legal experts began rethinking their courtroom strategies, particularly in high-profile cases. What changes were made to defense tactics, and how did the prosecution's approach evolve? This video will analyze how the Casey Anthony trial influenced the way legal teams prepare for media scrutiny and public pressure, with a particular focus on defense strategies and handling circumstantial evidence. The Casey Anthony trial showed just how powerful the media could be in shaping the outcome of a case. In the years following the trial, the influence of media coverage has continued to grow. How has this shaped the way future high-profile trials are conducted? What measures have been put in place to protect the integrity of the judicial process? In the face of overwhelming public opinion, we'll break down how the justice system has adapted to the media's increasing role in legal proceedings. The trial also sparked discussions about the transparency of the legal system and the public's role in shaping the outcome of cases. How did the trial's outcome alter public expectations of justice? This video will explore how public perception continues to affect the judicial process and how the case contributed to the ongoing conversation about transparency in high-profile cases. What could have been done differently in the Casey Anthony trial? With hindsight, many experts believe there were missed opportunities in the prosecution's case. Could a stronger presentation have led to a conviction? And could different legal strategies have influenced the outcome? We'll look at what lessons can be learned from the trial's flaws, and what might have been done differently to secure justice for Kaylee. How has the case changed the way future trials are handled? While the Casey Anthony case is now behind us, its legacy continues to influence how high-profile cases are managed. How have future trials, such as those involving celebrities or public figures, adapted to the lessons of this case? In this video, we'll examine the ways the system has changed in response to the fallout from the trial. Why do we still care about the Casey Anthony case? Despite being years removed from the trial, the public's fascination with Casey Anthony remains. What is it about this case that keeps the public engaged? Is it the tragic loss of a child, the media frenzy, or the belief that justice was never served? This video will explore why the Casey Anthony case still captivates the public's imagination and how it continues to shape the way we view justice and accountability in the modern age. Despite being acquitted, the public's obsession with Casey Anthony and her trial has never truly faded. Why are we still captivated by a case that ended years ago? What is it about the tragedy of Kaylee's death and the mystery surrounding her mother's role that continues to spark intense debate? In this video, we'll explore the deeper psychological reasons behind the public's continued fixation on Casey Anthony and what this case reveals about how we, as a society, engage with justice, morality, and media. What is it about the Casey Anthony case that keeps us hooked? The Casey Anthony trial wasn't just a legal event, it became a cultural moment. The trial captivated the nation, and even after the verdict, the questions and intrigue remain. But why? What makes this case so enduringly fascinating? In this video, we'll dive into the psychological and societal reasons why the Casey Anthony case continues to haunt the public consciousness. The media played a significant role in shaping the public's perception of the Casey Anthony case, but it didn't end with the verdict. News outlets, documentaries, and social media platforms kept the story alive long after the trial. How did the media's 24/7 coverage contribute to the public's obsession with Casey? We'll explore how the media created a narrative that kept the case alive in public conversation, making it impossible for the story to fade away. True crime has been a long-standing genre of entertainment, but the Casey Anthony case sparked something more. It became a case study in public morality, justice, and the role of the media in shaping public opinion. We'll examine how the public's fascination with the case reflects society's darker curiosities, as well as our collective need for closure, justice, and answers, especially in the face of uncertainty. Why do we need to have the right answer in high-profile cases? There's something uniquely unsettling about unresolved questions, especially when it comes to high-profile cases. The Casey Anthony trial, with its shocking verdict, left the public feeling uneasy and incomplete. This video will explore why we, as a society, have such a strong need for closure in cases like this, and why unanswered questions continue to fuel our obsession. Will the public ever let go of the Casey Anthony case? Despite the trial's conclusion, the case is far from over for the public. Many still believe Casey got away with murder, and others continue to seek the truth about what happened to Kaylee. Will this case ever truly fade from the public's eye, or will it linger in the collective memory for generations to come? In this video, we'll analyze the ongoing cultural impact of the case and what it means for the future of high-profile trials. What does our obsession with this case say about us? What does our obsession with the Casey Anthony case reveal about us as individuals and as a society? Is it a fascination with the darker side of human nature, a need for justice, or something deeper? This video will explore what the public's fixation on this case reveals about our collective psyche, and why we continue to search for answers, even years after the trial. How has the public's perception of justice been shaped by this case? The Casey Anthony trial has not only shaped public opinion of the accused, but also public opinion of the justice system. Many still believe that Casey got away with murder, and this perception has influenced how we view the criminal justice process as a whole. In this video, we'll examine how the Casey Anthony trial has altered the public's trust in the legal system, and how it has changed the way we engage with future high-profile trials. As the public's obsession with the Casey Anthony case continues to unfold, one thing is clear: this trial has left an indelible mark on both the legal system and society's psyche. But will the truth ever come out? Will Casey ever address the questions that still haunt us? In our next video, we'll explore whether the media will continue to perpetuate the narrative surrounding Casey Anthony, or if, after all these years, the story will finally come to an end. Stay tuned for more insights into how the public's relationship with the case has evolved and what lies ahead. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop comment below.